Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 060, Topics in Developmental Mathematics, Section 4.8, Problem 7. This is Section 4.8, Problem 7. It says Amy and Steve had a meal at a nice restaurant. The price of the meal for the two of them was $68.70. They would like to leave a 20% tip. So part A, how much is the tip? And then part B, what is the total that they pay? So first let's figure out the tip. Now there are a lot of quick tricks for figuring out tips, and I'll show you at the end of the problem, but basically because it's a percent problem, my approach is going to be the standard. Rewrite the question in the form A is P% of B. And then once you get it in that format, use the formula A over B equals P over 100. And that'll work. It's not the quickest way, but I like the idea that I have one formula for every type of percent question. And I'll show you my trick at the end. So, A is the unknown. A is 20% of 68.70. That's A is P% of B. A, the amount of the tip, is 20% of the 68.70, the cost of the meal. So now that I have it written in this form, put it in the formula. A is the unknown, so it can just stay as an A. Equals, that comes from the is. P is 20. The percent is what makes the 100 in the denominator. And the B is 68.70. Now, at this point, you can eliminate the 0. 68.7 is really the same as 68.70. But because it's a price, I just like seeing the two places after the decimal, so I'm going to leave it. Now, one thing you can do is reduce the 20 over 100 pretty nicely. It reduces to 1/5. 20 divides into 20 once, 20 divides into 100 5 times. You'll get the same answer even if you don't reduce it. Sometimes I don't bother to reduce, but it reduces so much that I will reduce it. So we'll leave the A over 68.70 equals, and we'll make that 20 over 100 1/5 because it's equivalent to 1/5. Now to solve it, cross multiply. A times 5 will make 5A, and that's equal to 68.70 times 1. Well, that's a multiplication you can do without a calculator. Times 1, it'll just stay 68.70. And now to solve for A, you have to divide out the 5, so you have 68.70 over 5. Now again, if you have a teacher that will allow you to use a calculator for a class, you simply do 68.70 divided by 5 equals, and you get the answer right away. But if you can't use a calculator, just divide it the long way. It's not the end of the world. 68.70 goes under the division symbol, 5 in front. Your decimal point will have to come straight up vertically into your answer. And then 5 divides into 6. It goes in once. 1 times 5 is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring down the next digit, which is an 8. Next to the 1 makes an 18. 5 divides into 18. It'll go in 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. 18 minus 15 is 3. Bring down the next digit. Once you get this far into it, you can just ignore the decimal. Once you bring it up in the answer, you're all set. So bring down that 7. Next to the 3 makes a 37. 5 divides into 37 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 37 minus 35 is 2. Bring down the next digit, which is a 0. 0 next to the 2 makes it 20. 5 divides into 20, divides in exactly 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. I have 20 minus 20, remainder is 0. Perfect. So the answer I get is A equals 13.74. And what was that we found? That is 20% of the meal cost, so that's the tip. That's a good tip. If you leave a tip of $13.74, that's a good tip. Now, what is the total they pay? The price of the meal, $68.70, plus another $13.74 in tip. So let me add that up down here. So I have $68.70 plus $13.74 for the tip. Add those together. 0 plus 4 is 4. 7 plus 7 is 14. write the 4 for the 14, carry the 1. And again, your decimal will come straight down vertically. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. So write the 2 from the 12, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 and 1 more is 8. So the total that they pay for the meal, including tip, is $82.44. Now, I had mentioned that's not the only way to calculate a tip. That works, and it works well. It's great. It'll work every time. But 20% is a good tip. That's how much is expected of a tip if you're satisfied with your service for most people. 20% is easy to make. You can't necessarily do the whole thing in your head. 10% is super easy to do. So to get 10% of any number, just pull the decimal one spot to the left. That's how you get 10% of the number very easily. So at 6870 becomes 6.87. So a 10% tip would be $6.87. So if you want a 20% tip, you want 2 of those. So 6.87 plus another 6.87 comes out to exactly $13.74. That's a nice quick way of making a 20% tip without all the calculation. You get the same answer both ways, but this is something you have to do often enough. It's good to be able to do it quickly.